So hello, my name is Axel Kilian, and I will be serving as one of the judges for the competition. I'm currently an visiting assistant professor at the Department of Architecture at MIT until May 2020, PhD in computation, and have taught and researched at various institutions in Princeton, TU Delft, and MIT, with a focus on embodied computation, which to me is basically an architecture-specific take on robotics and inhabited space. The combination of Kaleidoscope and Metaverse is interesting to me because from my first encounters with the digital, I've always been fascinated with the potential of different experiences in the digital mediated environment rather than free of the physical world. So is it possible to develop novel experiences rather than depict or copy our sort of physical experiences, rather thinking of it as an extension of thought than just geometries. So this is for me like the starting point and the kaleidoscope as a sort of trigger to imagine from small triggers or small observations, larger expansive possibilities is, I think, very powerful in its openness and inspirational aspiration. Constraints are crucial to understand the limits of what is possible, but also for me always trigger an understanding that the current implementations of tools and processes are always just the best fit of what we have to do, but always serve as a reminder that we have to push beyond and basically never lose track of the conceptual starting points of our work. So if we implement, we can encounter ideas and engage with them in an externalized manner and also share them with others. So this is, for me, a crucial part of implementation and dealing with the constraints of tools, but then also compare them back to what the actual broader ambitions are and critique them and take that as a starting point to put pressure on further developing those tools and overcoming the constraints, but driven specifically by the sort of comparison between experienced and imagined realities. Yeah, the boundaries of a design project are similar to tools, a really crucial aspect of the definition of the design task. So without defining the boundaries, the task is endless and open-ended. So the first step to actually understand the process and setting boundaries allows one to push up against them. So this is no different in the digital or in the metaverse or the Kaleidoverse than in any other design problem. But I think in this case, it's more crucial because of its non-physical and, let's say, potentially constrained lack of resource limitations at first thought. So setting certain boundaries together with the implementation constraints of tools gives one something to push up against and also test the first concepts, ideas, and then create experienceable scenarios, hopefully with involvement of the body. And that's, to me, a crucial driver for my research, as I mentioned before, the embodied computation. So how can we actually bring ourselves into these experiences? So that is, I think, a very important aspect of the boundary setting, to not exclude social and human interactions and also human experience per se. So how to overcome the limitations of the purely visual interaction within digital environments is one of my main drivers in my own research, and I hope we can see some ideas in the context of the competition as well. In my research and also my teaching, I approach design in the embodied computation context with the sequence of assignments, which start with the design of a physical object, just basically programming design intent through matter, which has a long tradition and long history, both in object design and in architecture. So basically capturing the intent of a design idea through organizing matter. I then extend that with the second assignment where I ask students to actuate this object. So basically give it capabilities of basic reconfiguration of its physical form. And then the third extension is to add basically the intangible of sensing. So extend the sphere of the physical with the intangible realm of the projected sensing. That then allows the object or the physical matter to respond to an environment. And then the last step, to extend this construct into the behavioral. So basically going from the formal all the way to the behavioral is to me a crucial push in basically creating fluency in the development of digital design, and also in its embodied kind of experienceable quality for the human inhabited environment, hence the robotic architecture being a large-scale version of that, where we basically inhabit the robot rather than interact with object-based robots in our environment, which has unique challenges in terms of times of scales of time and size of these environments. And I think this is also a crucial question for me in the Kaleidoverse or Metaverse Kaleidoscope combination. How can we basically go beyond the pure, let's say, geometry, faceted, visual sort of appearance of objects and environments, and actually make them matter to our experiences, and also link them back to the embodied experience of people, and not have them become sort of look-alike replacements of our physical experiences, but really offer the potential of expanding thought in more fluid, maybe, and less sort of location and sort of material constrained versions of our sort of physical environments. But there's, I think, a lot of need for also criticality in this experience. So I'm not necessarily promoting also my own research, these approaches as per se better or superior, but rather the need to engage with them, to build fluency, to be able to critically engage them in future work. So this is, for me, my research motivation. Also, technology is not the sort of guaranteed or unavoidable sort of answer to any problem, but rather we need to engage and push forward and understand the flaws of the current available tools and processes to be informed critics and push for improvements in all realms, digital, physical, alike.